Evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and we're happy to have you with us on the program tonight. Happy, happy to be on the program myself tonight. So many reasons to be happy. We have a phone number that you can call. There's the number up there on the screen, where it always is. You can also email us at keneckleslive at gmail.com. So it's going to be kind of a short week this week. It's going to be a 60-minute week this week, but we can catch up on some things here, such as our NASCAR contest. I sent out the points in email a couple of nights ago. So those of you who participate by email have seen this already. But we need to get some picks in tonight. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, it's Mark from Maridan.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Okay. I guess we need to let everybody know I picked number 11 for the race.
Mark has the number 11 for Kansas, yes.
Yeah. And later on, you can remind people of the stew if you go to. And I was gonna tell you that my friend Jeff Neal, he's gonna be at Southern Spirits on October 4th in Madison. He's gonna be at Southern Spirits in Madison down there.
October 4th. Well, that's the same day. Is that a stew day? No, that's not a stew day, is it? No, it's not. I'll mention the stews in just a minute or two.
Okay, and then I was gonna call you Monday night and tell you the Voice was gonna be on, but where you wasn't on, I forgot about watching the Voice Monday night.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. But the Voice is on. I guess the Voice is on tonight. Is this tonight the night for the Voice?
No, it was Monday and Tuesday. I watched it last night, but on Monday night, that was the first time I was come on Monday, and I was gonna watch it, and I had it on my mind, and then you didn't come on, and I forgot about it.
All right. Well, sorry we didn't get to promote the Voice this week, but we'll get them next week.
Okay. Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Mark. As Mark mentioned, he has picked the number 11 for the upcoming race at Kansas. Leon has the 22 because Leon made that pick last week. So Mark has the 11, Leon has the 22, and that's all we've got so far. Many of the people who email their picks in don't email them until tonight or sometimes on Thursday night. But those folks who pick by phone, tonight's the night. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken. How you doing, buddy?
Good, Early Bird. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How'd I come out on that finish?
Well, you're still not in last place. You held on to the 14th spot. So
I'm still in 14.
Yeah, but you're still 1 point ahead of Jack. Jack is on the bottom with 235 points. You've got 236. So
I'm the lady in black.
You're 4 points behind the lady in black. She's got 240.
Oh, okay. I'm 4 points behind her. Okay. Where are they racing at?
This week's race is at Kansas. It's an oval in Kansas.
That's a circle track, ain't it? Ain't no road course.
That's not a road course. Not this week.
Okay. I took Dana Hamlin last week, right?
Yep.
Yep. I took Dana Hamlin. It's in Kansas. I'm going to go Cal Lawson.
All right. Early Bird is taking the 5 for Kansas. Okay, Early Bird, it's in the book.
I was going to tell you, you weren't on Monday or Tuesday night. I checked to try to get you. See if you was on what you was.
Yeah, well, I know I wasn't. We had some sorts of problems those 2 nights, and I never got on. I was here in my chair ready to go, but I never got on the air.
Did you go to Riverfest?
Yeah, I walked up and took a look at Riverfest on Saturday night.
Did you?
Yeah, did you?
Well, I've been there. No, I didn't go. I always done know you was going. I don't went to try to see you.
Well, we might have run into each other.
I know it. I know. I've seen you before, huh?
You know,
know what
I
you
had
look
sort
like.
of forgotten about it, but then I heard I can hear the music here at my house, and I
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
bands playing, and I said, "Oh my, well, it's Riverfest." So I walked up there
yeah.
and walked around a while. It's a pretty good crowd when I was there.
Yeah, I just, ain't really too familiar how they got it set up there and all that. I've been about one time, walked through.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
it's in Washington Street, a couple of blocks of
yeah,
Washington Street. They block off the street, and
I
there's
know.
a lot of booths.
Parking right at that church, I think. You park at that church parking lot
Yeah, it's
across
close
the
to
street.
that, and they got folks,
Yeah,
selling stuff and food and bands playing,
yeah,
all kinds of things.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to win, but I didn't know. At least I know you was gonna be up there Saturday. I'd have sure tried to get up there and see if I could see you.
Well, that really wouldn't have been worth the trouble just to see me, but
Oh
hey,
yeah, I like talking to you, listen to you talk and tell stuff.
well, we'll get up there next year, both of us.
Okay, I'll let you go then. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Hey, I
Early
ain't pick
Bird.
my, I picked my driver, Cal Lawson. That's right.
Yep,
Okay, I'll see you later. Bye bye.
thanks. Early Bird has the 5 for Kansas. And so that one's in the book, along with Leon's 22 and Mark's 11. Mr. NASCAR continues in first place. Now we have 2 races. Is it 2? We have Kansas. Let's see, we have Kansas, and then we have the Roval. 2 races left in this segment of our contest. Kansas, and then the Roval the week after that. Mr. NASCAR has a fairly healthy lead right now. He's on top at 347 points. He's 35 points ahead of Mr. Draper, who is in second place. Then Mr. Pelham with 300, Chat GPT with 298. Charles has 293. That's the top 5. Citizen D is 6th with 288. Mr. Leaksville, 281. Pretty man. 275. Captain Midnight, 271. Mark, 271. Then the Liberal also with 271. The Leon has 256. Lady in Black, 240. Early Bird, 236. And residing in the lower floor this week, it's Jack with 235 points. So 2 races to go, and then we're going to have a 4-race lightning round, the last 4 races of the season, and they will be at Talladega, Las Vegas, Martinsville, and Phoenix. So that'll be a short segment. So if you want to get your pick in tonight, send me an email right up there at that email address, keneccleslive@gmail.com, or you can call us at the phone number indicated on your screen to get your picks in for Kansas. And we have something occurring over here. It is... Oh, wait a minute. Lady in Black is taking the 54. Lady in Black has the 54. Ty Gibbs for Kansas. So that's 1 more in the book. And hello, Ken. This is Captain Midnight. And please give me the 22. So Captain Midnight has the 22 for Kansas. Mr. Draper is taking Chase Elliott. It's all right. The number 9 for Mr. Draper. So that's a Mr. Draper, the 9, Captain Midnight, the 22, Mark, the 11, Leon, the 22, Lady in Black, the 54, and Early Bird has the 5. As we get to the last 2 races of this segment in our contest, excuse me, Emailer here says, Ken, I got a letter from the IRS. Oh, that's never in my experience, that's never ever good. Let's see. Ken, I got a letter from the IRS about my 2023 tax return. That sounds even worse. My 2023 tax return, and they say I have to pay something called the self-employment tax. I know that one. The self-employment tax, because of some part-time work I did, and I reported it on my tax return and paid income tax on it already. I don't understand how they can make me pay income tax on it again after I already paid income tax on it 2 years ago. Do you know anything about that and what I ought to do? Well, I'm not a professional tax advisor. Before I say anything about anything, let's make an announcement. I am not. I am not a professional tax advisor. So I want to make sure everybody understands that. However, it so happens that I, in fact, pay the self-employment tax every year. So I know a little bit about that. As far as what you ought to do, the first thing you need to do is do exactly what the IRS says to do in that letter. I'm guessing that the letter says something like, we think you might be liable for the self-employment tax, and it's asking you to send in some sort of form or information. So the first thing you do is send in that form or information that the IRS, what did I call them? The IRS asks for. Because they're not going to do anything drastic to you as long as you cooperate. And I don't know how much money we're talking about that you made, but again, I'll take a guess. You did some jobs, some part-time work, something for somebody, and they paid you on something called a 1099 form, and they also sent that to the IRS. The IRS says the law, and the law passed by Congress says that if you work, even if you have a full-time job somewhere else, or if you don't, if you work on your own volition for somebody and they pay you money, then you are in effect operating a business. It may not feel like you're operating a business. Doesn't feel to me like I'm operating a business. But under the law, I am. And if the people who pay you, and this is the case with the folks who pay me, if they do not withhold Social Security tax and Medicare tax from the money that they pay you, then the law says that you and I are responsible for paying the Medicare tax and the Social Security tax on the money that we earn. And so that's the Social Security tax and the Medicare tax, add them all up, they come out to, I think it is, I should know this, and I believe I do, they come out to about 15.3% when you combine the two of them on the money that you and me and a few other folks earn in what's called non-employee compensation. So again, I don't know how much money you're talking about, but how it's probably going to work out is you're going to have to pay the self-employment tax, which involves something called a Schedule C and a Form SE. The Schedule C is profit or loss from business, and the Form SE is self-employment tax. So I hate to bring gloom and doom, but you're almost certainly going to have to pay it, however much it is. You're going to have to pay 15.3% on that money that you earned. I think the IRS will insist. I know they insist in my case. So that's what it is. Now you'll get some deductions. You'll get some special deductions that will ease the pain somewhat. It still hurts, but the deductions ease the pain a little bit. Whatever your tax turns out to be, you can take half of that and use that as a deduction, on a deduction, even if you don't itemize. You can deduct half of the amount of your tax. And then whatever profit you made, when you count the money you took in and any expenses you might have had and all that, whatever profit you made, you can also deduct 20% of that. So you'll pay the self-employment tax. You'll get a little bit of a break on your income tax on other stuff, though, because of those deductions. So I don't want to turn the show into IRS today. So I'm not going to talk all night about that. But that's why they sent you the letter. And that's what you can expect from the self-employment tax. I wasn't aware of it when I first started doing this and another part-time job that I do. I wasn't aware of it, so I didn't pay it. I didn't pay it the first year. But they know. Oh, they noticed. They noticed right away, and they reached out to me, which the IRS is known to do. All right, that's enough about the self-employment tax. Let's go. Well, maybe it's not enough. This emailer says, "Ken, I hear you talking about the self-employment tax. They came up with that during COVID, when so many people were not doing their regular jobs, but they were just doing gigs, and they called it the gig economy. And that's when they came up with being extra special careful about people who were earning a lot of money and not paying the self-employment tax. And that's how they caught you," says the emailer. "And that's how they caught me. And that's how they caught the person who sent you that email." Yep, that's how they caught us all. And now we have all been brought to justice. Ken, why don't you, here's a question about our NASCAR contest. Why don't you just divide the whole season up into 4 equal segments so that every race has the same number of races? Well, I think you mean every segment has the same number of races. Here's why we do it that way. The first segment is short because we want to have a winner before the spring race in Martinsville so that they get a chance to win the tickets and use them. That's why the first segment, I think the first segment is like 6 races maybe, so it's kind of short. Then we have 2 long ones, and I like to have 2 long ones, and somebody might disagree, and I'm always open to suggestions about how to run it. I like to have 2 long segments because with a long segment, you can have you can even have a couple of really rotten weeks where you pick a driver who finishes 36th one week and 39th the next week. You can have 2 really bad weeks and still have a chance to get back in it. If it's a long segment, 1 bad week, even 2 bad weeks does not just automatically knock you out of contention. And then we get to the last segment, and we want to have winners before the fall race in Martinsville. So we stop it before the fall race, and then we have another short one after the Martinsville race. And again, in those short segments, same thing. You have a bad week, you're out of it. But with the long segments, you have a much better chance to come back if you've had a bad week. So that's why I like to have 2 long segments. If someone has suggestions otherwise, I will be happy to consider those suggestions. Notice I said consider those. I didn't say follow. I said consider them. But anyhow, that's why we do it that way. I think most people are okay with that. Hi, Ken. This is Citizen D. Gosh, I am sliding back farther, and Pretty Man is getting close to my bumper. You don't want that. You don't want Pretty Man close to your bumper. I can tell you that. From being on top and having the Liberal all worried, I was going wire to wire, to falling back close to Pretty Man. Did you ever do the audit on the Liberals wire to wire? Was that the lightning round he did that on? If so, Citizen D plans on going wire to wire during the week 4 contest. Liberal went wire to wire in the first segment, which I believe, I looked it up and then I've already forgotten. I'm pretty sure the first segment was 6. I think it was a 6 race segment that Liberal went wire to wire on. But it's still wire to wire, and if you do it in the 4-week contest, it'll still be honored as a wire to wire. Citizen D goes on to say, tell Charles to cover the What the Hay Festival in Mayodan this year. Maybe Mark from Mayodan can be this year's star guest. I'm not sure what Saturday that festival is this year, but it's usually really good. Citizen D takes the Watermelon Man this week. Okay. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Mr. Ken, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Look, I didn't see you on the last 2 nights.
I wasn't here. I mean, I was here, but I wasn't on the air, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I got a problem with this.
What is it?
For the last probably 8 weeks, you've been on the air and off the air.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm sorry. I don't plan it that way. But you know, we have things that happen. It's not like we've got a big studio where we can all get together and be on TV.
Yeah.
We're like in 3 different places on the internet to make this thing work, and sometimes it just doesn't work. I wish that didn't happen, but it happens.
Yeah. Well, like I said, enjoy your show.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And like I said, I'll continue watching you.
Well, I hope you will. I really hope you will, and I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Well, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. And yeah, I mean, I was going to sit here and pretend we don't have problems, because that would be a silly thing to do, because we do have problems. But I don't know what else to say. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Kia.
Yes. How are you?
My name be Lee Honglo.
Oh,
I'm from Japan. I
oh,
come over from Japan. I'm a fisherman.
Okay. Caught
I
anything
come to
lately?
fish. No. That's what I bring with me from Japan. I know a brand new hummingbird fish finder.
Okay.
And I am trying to find what to catch a hummingbird fish. I fish everywhere, and I cannot catch no hummingbird fish. I have a new hummingbird fish finder, and I catch some hummingbird fish. Someone please call in for Mr. Ken what I can catch the hummingbird fish.
Well, maybe you're not using the right bait.
I use a hummingbird.
Well,
With the hummingbird fish finder. With the hummingbird fish finder.
What works in Japan does not necessarily work here. There could be
Japan, we only have carp. You drive up the river, the carp to jump into your boat. You don't have to catch them and jump in your boat, hit you in the head, and knock you out of the boat.
Yeah, well, that sounds pretty easy that way.
Well, it's no fun. No fun.
No fun. Okay,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
May somebody may someone call in and say where the hummingbird fish live. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ken. Have a good night.
Well,
Good night,
thank
Mr.
you.
Ken. Good night.
Thank you so much. So Citizen D takes the Watermelon Man for Kansas, Ross Chastain. So that one's taken care of. Phone line's open. There's a number up there. You can also email us. It's KenEcclesLive@gmail.com. Hi, Ken. Mr. Leaksville here. I seem to be too close to Pretty Man. Nobody wants to be close to Pretty Man, and I don't either. So I can understand that. I seem to be too close to Pretty Man. So please give me the number 5 for this weekend. Mr. Leaksville has the 5. I was getting concerned after your statement last week about having issues. Anyway, have a great week. Oh, I'm happy that you're on tonight. I was getting concerned after your statement last week about having issues. Anyway, have a great weekend. Okay, Mr. Leaksville, you've got the 5, and I appreciate your concern, but my issue, I was having issues last week, but that cleared up, so that's not a problem. The problem last night and the night before last was issues, but not that kind of issue, just technical issues. Technical issues. Here's another email who says, Ken, if you're going to do this show, I don't know why you don't do it in the studio. There's a perfectly good studio right there in Reedsville. I've been in there many times. It has a nice big desk and chairs that people can sit in, and a lobby where people can wait, like they're waiting for the dentist. Waiting for the dentist. Why don't you do the show in the studio in Reedsville, if I may ask? Well, you may ask. In fact, you already have asked, as it turns out. As it further turns out, the studio in Reedsville doesn't currently work. And I don't want to get too far into technical situations here, but the studio in Reedsville is broke, as they say, and not fit right now to be used for television. Well, if it's not fit to be used for television, what is it fit for? That's a good question. Also a good question. One I don't think I'm able to answer that one. But no, there are problems, technical problems with the studio in Reedsville, which is why we're not in there. Now, initially, we used to do the show there in the studio, but we stopped initially, because of COVID and all the stuff that happened during COVID. And we didn't go in there anymore. We started doing the show at home. And then when the tree fell, I did it at somebody else's home, and now I'm back in my own home. But during all that time, things happened in Reedsville. I guess, I don't know, maybe the rats gnawed some wires. I think maybe part of the roof collapsed over there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure everything that happened. But the studio is just not suitable for broadcast right now, which is why we do it the way we currently do. And we do it the way we currently do. Ken, I am hearing a news story all the time about this thing called the nightmare bacteria that they say is not susceptible to antibiotics. What in the world is the nightmare bacteria, and what does it do to people if they catch it? And how do you know if you have it? That is kind of scary. the nightmare bacteria, it's something I'm not going to try to say its actual name. One of the reasons is I don't know its actual name. I think they call it the NMB, MNB, NMB, MNB, something like that. They call the nightmare bacteria. And it by all appearances, cannot be killed or controlled by antibiotics. If you get it, my understanding is there's several different ways you can get it. You can get it in the form of a pulmonary infection, basically pneumonia. And the symptoms would be the symptoms you would expect from pneumonia or a bad case of the flu, fever and coughing and all that. You can also get it as a urinary tract infection. And the symptoms would be, again, the symptoms of a urinary tract infection. And I won't go into the details on what those are, but I think we mostly understand what those would be. You can also get it as a blood infection, a sepsis. So the thing to watch out for, and the tricky part is the symptoms are the same symptoms that you can get from a lot of things that are not the nightmare bacteria. Coughing, fever, fatigue, shortness of breath, urinary problems, if it hits you in the urinary tract, those would be the symptoms of it. But presumably they would be, I think, obviously, they would probably be a little more intense than if you just have a cold. Now, again, my understanding, and I don't have full knowledge of this, my understanding is that for most people who are infected by the nightmare bacteria, which is really an awful thing. I wish they'd called it something else, because that just really scares people when they call it that. Most people, the symptoms they get will just be symptoms for a while, and then they'll go. I guess what I'm saying is, for most people, it's an annoying infection, but it's not a lethal infection by any means, but it could be. So if you find yourself with those symptoms, and I believe this is what a doctor would tell you, a doctor, which I'm not, if you find yourself with those symptoms and they persist, then you need to see a doctor and get checked out and make sure that that's not what you have. And even though antibiotics don't work against it, there are treatments they can use, and I'm not able to describe the treatments, and I won't even try because I don't know exactly what they are. But that's why you go to your doctor. So that's what I know about the nightmare bacteria, which I hope they'll think of another name for. But that's what I'm able to tell you about that. And I think just as in the case of the self-employment tax, job one is do what the IRS asks you to do. Job one, if you expect you've got the bacteria, is see a doctor. Hi, Ken. This is Jack. Put me down for the number 11. Let me write that down. Jack has the 11 for Kansas. The number 11, Denny Hamlin, for this weekend at Kansas. Thanks, Ken. Have a good weekend. Well, thank you, Jack. So let's see. We have a duel for 14th place going on here with just 1 point separating Jack and Early Bird. So Jack has taken the 11 and Early Bird has taken the 5. So that sets up these next two races, which will decide who actually wins last place. Who actually wins 14th place. Nobody wants to win last place. Jack, the 11, and Early, the 5. Hello, Eccles. This is Pretty Man. Well, I guess this had to happen sooner or later, as much as we didn't want it to. Pretty Man has sent an email. Hello, Eccles. This is Pretty Man. What the hey is this about you saying that people would not want to be of proximity to Pretty Man? Do you know the many accomplishments that Pretty Man has accomplished in his great career in his profession? His great career in his profession. Do you not know of the many his great career in his profession? Why would wait a minute, my phone's gone. My phone understands what's happening here and is trying to stop me from reading this email. But I'm sort of going to have to read it anyway because I've committed to read people's emails. What does he say? He goes on to say, "Must have accomplished in my profession." If they only knew Pretty Man's identity, they would not only would they not be unfortunate to be close to Pretty Man, they would seek out Pretty Man and try to be next to him. Notice how sometimes he gets into referring to himself in the third person. Have you ever noticed that? They would seek out Pretty, they'd try to get next to him to drink of his wisdom and know of a fraction of all that he knows. This is not easy to read. I wish you would learn to type. You have, I know you have spare time. Why don't you take typing lessons? Because this is impossible to read. And now they are saying to themselves, I wonder who Pretty Man expects will win the Kansas race in Kansas, because they would like to choose that same race car. So here is the thing that people have been hungering to know. Pretty Man chooses for the race this week the driver number 12, Dave. Here's what he said. The driver number 12, Dave Blaney. All right. I'm going to give you the number 12, Pretty Man. And his name is Blaney, but it's not Dave. It's Ryan. It's Ryan Blaney. Dave Blaney hasn't been in a race for a while. So there it is, folks. As long and hard as to actually get to it was, Pretty Man takes the 12, Ryan Blaney, for Kansas. He doesn't say, does he say anything else? Yeah, he says some more stuff, but you don't want to hear it. So we'll just go ahead and delete that. So we don't really ever have to see it again. So there. Phone line is open. There's the phone number. Call at that number. You can also email us at keneckleslive@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way, by phone or by email on this edition of Star Talk. I need to keep up with the time. We got another 15 minutes or so to take your phone calls and your emails, and we'd love to hear from you. Ken, did they change the law about the COVID vaccine? I know it started out you had to have a prescription from your doctor to get the COVID vaccine, but somebody told me you don't have to have that prescription anymore. Which is the right story? Emailer, you don't have to have a prescription from your doctor now. The story is that the General Assembly, North Carolina General Assembly, made a decision that the prescription is not necessary, as most states have done. That was, of course, from Washington, D.C., the proclamation that you should have a prescription. But states are not bound to abide by that. And most states, including now North Carolina, are not going along with that. So now in North Carolina, you do not have to have a prescription to get the COVID vaccine. Now, you may have a hard time getting it because, well, no, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to say the wrong thing. No, I'm not going to say you may have a hard time getting it. I will say it this way. You should call your pharmacy, your pharmacist, whichever store you go to get it. You should call in advance and make sure that they currently have it in stock before you drive up there to get it. Because supplies have been, I wouldn't say there's a shortage, but it has been such that not every drugstore, not every pharmacy has it all the time. Although those who might not have it right now probably will be able to get it. Anyway, just the word to the wise is if it's any kind of trouble, a long drive or any considerable inconvenience for you to get there, call ahead and make sure that they have it. But as far as the prescription goes, it is no longer necessary to have a prescription in North Carolina in order to get the COVID vaccine. They changed that several days ago. And while they were at it, excuse me, while they were at it, they also took a look at the DMV situation in North Carolina. We've had quite a bit of discussion about the DMV situation in North Carolina. And they have determined in Raleigh that they need to do another study of the Department of Motor Vehicles to figure out exactly what's going on, like they don't know already. And the conclusion they will come to, in my opinion, now I could be wrong. In my opinion, the conclusion they will reach once again is that they don't have enough licensed examiners at the DMV offices to serve people in a timely fashion. But they're going to do that. And along with that, they came up with a list of the DMV offices in North Carolina and which ones are the slowest and which ones were the quickest. And I, in my industriousness, actually had that list right here on my phone at one point. But of course, but they do have a list. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Ken, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right. It's good to have you back, my friend.
Well, I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, look, on the other day I was out. I went participate in a large march and all, and I was talking to the person beside me. And he asked me, he said, "What you think about this crowd?" I said, "It's a nice crowd, man." He said, "You out here too for Jimmy Kimball?" I said, "No." I said, "I thought this was for Ken Eccles."
And then what did he say?
he said, "Ken who?"
Yeah, that's what most people say.
I said, but one thing, it's good to have both of you back, and never underestimate the power of people. I imagine Charles got a few phone calls too during the last couple of days.
I don't know if anybody would really care if I went away.
Oh yeah. Well, you might look your crowd. You might have a larger mark than Jimmy Kimball. Who knows?
I know.
In this era,
I do know. I was wrong. Somebody would care if I went. The IRS would care because they wouldn't get the self-employment tax from me anymore.
All right, hey, you see where those are? Now that Doge went in there with that chainsaw and everything, and now they're trying to hire about 2,000 air controllers.
Well, yeah, I've read a couple of things about that. They ended up short on air traffic controllers, and a lot of them. I don't know what percentage. I imagine most of them will be happy to take their jobs back, but they may end up a little bit short and have to go and train some new ones.
Well, they said it takes at least a year,
Long time.
you know, to train someone for
Takes a
that
very
job
long
and
time.
everything.
In
So,
fact, I know somebody who went to, I don't want to go too off track here, but I'll mention this quickly.
okay.
I know somebody who went to air traffic controller school. It's in Oklahoma City, at least it was
Oh,
then. He went to air
right.
traffic controller school, and he said it was the hardest thing. He'd been to college, taken a bunch of math and stuff in college. He said
Yeah.
air traffic controller training was the hardest thing he had ever been through in his entire life. So those folks don't just walk in off the street and go to work.
Right. I imagine, you have so much going on at one time, and then the decisions you make, so much depends on it.
Oh, the
It's
pressure! I can't imagine the pressure.
yeah, and that's each day you come to work.
Yep, it's a high pressure
Yeah,
job.
I wouldn't want that. Look, this week, let me try number 24.
Okay, Liberal is taking the 24 for
Yeah, I see
Kansas.
that still open. Don't see no one take that yet.
It's in the book. Now refresh my memory here. When you went wire to wire in the first segment, that was 6 races, wasn't it?
It was 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
I'm not sure which one, but it was 6 or 7. It was a first segment
Right.
of
You're
the season.
you
And
can still, at least for the time being, you can still tell everybody you're the only one to do it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, there's a lot of people shooting at McKinn, and I tell you, especially Citizen D, he keep
Yeah.
on.
He's
Keep
on.
on
He's definitely on your trail.
he keep on making threats and tell me he gonna take it he gonna take it or join me, and so he keeps the pressure on. You know what I mean?
Yep. Wherever you go, look behind you. He'll be there.
All right, Ken. Enjoy your show. Glad to have you back. Hey, you didn't go to the festival that Friday night, did you?
No, I went on
Riverfest.
Saturday.
Man, they had a band that Friday night, Ken, that was out of sight. You
Really?
know?
Were you in it?
Yeah. Huh?
Were you in that band?
No, but somebody stopped and asked me, was I a backup? I said, thanks for the flattery, but I don't qualify for this group.
Well, no, I missed Friday night. They had another good
Man.
band on Saturday night too. I missed the Friday one.
Well, I tell you what, I give the city credit. Their selection and their choice of music, and also I think they have some. They usually have some good vendors down there each year. So I think it's one time in the year where the people come together and get a lawn chair, whatever, just relax and enjoy themselves. But I think the city does a good job on that.
Oh, they do. Absolutely. Yes.
And the thing of it is, it's free, you know?
You can't beat the price.
No, that's one thing that hadn't gone up. All right, Ken, I'll see you later.
Thanks for calling. All right, Liberal has the 24 for Kansas, so that one is now in the book. Oh, I better mention those stews. Mark told me I need to mention the stews, and I will. Couple of stew opportunities coming up. October 18th, The Mayodan Boy Scouts are cooking a stew. It's $9 a quart. If you want some, call 336-949-4248. That's at the Boy Scout, Mayodan Boy Scout Hut in Mayodan. So there's that. And then I think the week before that, it is the week before that, on October 11th, there's a festival at Sandy Ridge. And the Sandy Ridge Fire Department is where it is. And they're going to have stew for free. From 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. You can eat all the stew you can eat for free at the Sandy Ridge Fire Department. Then if they have any left at 1 p.m., which I don't know if they will or not, but if they have any left at 1 o'clock, then you can buy it for $6 a quart. It's the Folk Festival at the Sandy Ridge Fire Department. If you want to call ahead and get more information about that, the number is 336-871-2334, 336-871-2334. So that's our stew report for tonight. And let's see, there's another email flashed up over here. Only I'm not going to see it there. I need to go somewhere else. Hello, Ken. It's the Weather Inquirer. The Weather Inquirer. So now Gabrielle is hurricane. Is that right? And from what I looked at on the map, it looks like Gabrielle is moving straight toward North Carolina. Have you seen that map? So if that is going to hit the coast, when would it be? Hang on. Something in my ear. If that's going to hit the coast, when would it be? Well, yes, Gabrielle is now a hurricane, Category 4 hurricane. And she is in the vicinity of the Azores, well out there in the Atlantic, nowhere close to North Carolina yet. As far as the movement goes, yeah, it is true, I guess. If you look at the map and you look at the direction that she's moving in and you extrapolate, do a geographical extrapolation based on her current direction of movement, she's kind of moving toward North Carolina, but that's a long way away. And there's no reason to believe or to disbelieve. I mean, there's no reason to draw a conclusion at all as to how long she will continue to move on that particular course. So I guess the answer we're working up to here is the last answer you want to hear, and that is nobody knows. I mean, really, just no one knows right now whether that storm will come near to North Carolina or come ashore in North Carolina or whatever it might do. It's just still way too far out there for anybody to know that. So the recommendation obviously is to keep up with forecasts and projections and ask people who might actually know something rather than asking. Now, I don't mind you asking me. Ask me as many times as you want. But there are much better people than me, believe me, to ask about that. So keep an eye on it. And see what it does. But there's no reason to assume right now that it's going to hit North Carolina or even hit anywhere on the coast. And the same goes for two more tropical storms, which have recently formed out there in the South Atlantic. They're kind of back behind Gabrielle right now, and obviously impossible to know what they may or may not do either. So my hope and wish for you is that you will get to take your fall trip to the beach as you always do, and that you will have some great seafood, and you will walk on the beach and not get stung by a Portuguese man of war. In other words, I wish you all good things when you take your trip to the beach. And that's all the time we have. for Star Talk tonight. I appreciate your being with us. Sorry that time was scarce this week, but we'll do better next week. We're on the air when we're lucky, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Eccles.